It's been 7 years since the 2018 MLB Draft, and that makes me feel almost as old as San Francisco Giants' Justin Verlander. Anyway, it's been long enough since then to have a pretty good read on the players that were in that draft, and I thought it would be fun to change the draft order and redraft with the benefit of hindsight. Now, I'm not saying that I would do a better job than professional scouts, but I do know how these players have performed 7 years after the draft, so let's redraft it. Now, I do need to get a couple of rules out of the way before I start the redrafting process, so we're on the same page. First off, I'm not drafting based off of team needs. If I get to the New York Yankees and the best player available is a right fielder, I don't care that Aaron Judge is going to be blocking him. That doesn't matter to me. I'm picking the right fielder if that's the best player available. Secondly, I'm not counting trades towards a player's value whatsoever. For example, Josiah Gray was traded for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. I don't care about that for this redrafting process. I will mention it because it's fun to see how trades ended up and who got traded where, but it's not changing the overall pick or value of the player in this draft. And lastly, third, if a player did not sign after being drafted in this draft class, I will not be selecting them. For example, Matt McLain was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks late in this draft. He didn't sign, so I'm not selecting him because he's not going to sign in my redraft either. He's off the board even though he's a good player. With the rules out of the way, let's get into the redraft. Let's get started with the number 1 overall pick, Detroit Tigers. Now, I'm going to go in a very similar way for all of these picks. I'm going to start out with the original pick, give a little bit of insight on that pick and what happened with that player, and then I'm going to go to my new pick and give a lot more insight on that new pick. In real life, the Detroit Tigers selected Casey Mize with the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 draft, and Casey Mize has had a pretty good career. He's been pretty injured, so he's only started 59 games, but he has a 4.4 career ERA. He is 28 years old, however, which is pretty old for some of the guys on this draft class. I'm not sure if Casey Mize is going to be returning in this video. He might not be a top 30 pick. With that being said, my new pick is also a Detroit Tigers, and that's Tarik Skubal, who got drafted in the 9th round originally by Detroit. Tarik is incredible, maybe a top 3 pitcher in all of baseball? Maybe he's even number 1. However you want to put it, Skubal is a left-handed monster on the hill, who is an absolute psychopath and won the American League Cy Young Award and the Triple Crown, which is insane. He had a 2.39 ERA in 31 starts with 192 innings pitched and 228 strikeouts. He throws fastballs at an average velocity of 97 miles per hour, and his slider and changeup are both absolutely unhittable. I also had him personally as my AL Cy Young runner-up before going into the 2024 season. I only had him behind George Kirby. Just saying, I was on that. The only thing that concerns me is Skubal does have a little bit of an injury problem, but hopefully in 2024 he broke away from the injury bug and now he's just durable. I also hope he's completely gone from 2021 Skubal, where he threw 29 starts to a tune of a 4.3 ERA. That's not bad, but it's not the Skubal that we see today. Either way, he's safely the number 1 overall pick in this draft, in my opinion. The number 2 overall pick from the San Francisco Giants was Joey Bart, who did not have a good Giants career before getting shipped off to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Career-wise, Bart is batting .235 with 24 home runs and a 92 OPS+. His best season was his 2024 season by far, and like I said, this is the season where he was sent to the Pirates. And in that season alone, he hit 13 home runs with a .265 batting average and a 120 OPS+. Maybe he could bounce back, but again, I'm not sure that he's going to be making my top 30 players of this draft class. We'll just have to see by the end of it. My new pick, however, is my favorite player in baseball, Jarren Duran. The 2024 All-Star Game MVP absolutely took baseball by storm in 2024, putting the league on notice with one of the greatest five-tool seasons in MLB history, and that's really not exaggerating what Duran did in 2024. He led the league in doubles with 48, triples with 14, to go along with hitting 21 homers, 34 stolen bases, a .285 batting average with 160 games started. He also had an 8.7 WAR and 10 outs above average with 23 defensive runs saved, meaning he was a defensive monster in the outfield. Just an incredible season all around. And that was following up a 2023 season where he was also a very solid player with 34 doubles in just 102 games, which is silly. He's an absolute game wrecker and is one of the most electric players to watch in all of Major League Baseball. The fact that Duran fell to the 7th round in the regular draft was incredible value for the Boston Red Sox, but in this world, he's headed to the Giants 2nd overall. In real life, pick number 3, we have Alec Bohm heading to the Philadelphia Phillies. Bohm is not a bad player, but he's definitely had a weird career. He is the best of the top 3 picks, however, and he will definitely show up on this list later down the line, but I'm not picking him 3rd overall. He's batted .277 throughout his career with 59 homers, 125 doubles, which is a lot, a 105 OPS plus. However, he's had a very difficult postseason career and has had some personality issues on the field, not off the field, on them. My new pick is Shane McClanahan, and he was originally drafted 31st overall by the Tampa Bay Rays. People have forgotten just how good Shane McClanahan really is. I originally had him above Jarren Duran in this video, but then I changed my mind due to Jarren doing what he did last year and not in 2023 like McClanahan did, and now he's returning from a severe injury. Shane hasn't quite reached ace level volume yet. However, his production in his innings have been magical. In 404 career innings in 3 seasons, he's posted a 3.02 ERA with the same fastball velocity as Skubal from before. Shane does have an issue, however, and that's the postseason. He has almost a 6 ERA in 17 postseason innings, even though most of those are relief innings and some of those were literally his MLB debut. His first Major League Baseball experience was in the 2020 postseason, one of the very rare postseason debuts. Moving past that, in 2022, Shane was a true Cy Young candidate with a 2.54 ERA, and he held his opponents to a 194 batting average against him, which is insane for a starting pitcher. If he had a healthy 2024 season, there's a real possibility that he could have been the number 1 overall pick in this redraft. The number 4th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft went to the Chicago White Sox, who selected Nick Madrigal, a second baseman. In 2021, Nick Madrigal was a beast with a .305 batting average in 215 plate appearances, but sadly that wasn't sustained over his career and he has been traded 2 times since. He also hasn't been able to bat over .263 since 2021, and since his playstyle is basically Luis Arraez, this isn't good enough to be the 4th overall pick and probably isn't good enough to crack my top 30 picks. My new pick is going to be Logan Gilbert, one of the Mariners' many aces, who originally was drafted 14th overall in the 1st round by the Seattle Mariners. The 2nd starting pitcher in a row, and this draft was very starting pitcher heavy early on. I wonder if that happens a lot or not, I'm not exactly sure, but in this one it definitely did. Logan Gilbert fully broke out in the 2024 season, much like Skubal, with the Seattle Mariners posting true ace type volume, leading the American League with 208 innings while also striking out 220 batters in his 33 starts. He also had the lowest whip in all of baseball with a 0.887, meaning that only 0.8 batters got on base against him per inning. He was durable, consistent, and dominant in 2024, and I expect that to continue in 2025. This also wasn't the first time he had an ace-like season. He did in 2022 as well, where once again he threw over 185 innings. 2023 was less good in terms of production, but he also had over 190 innings pitched. So that's 3 years in a row making at least 32 starts and averaging a 3.3 ERA in those 97 games. Gilbert has insane stuff, with maybe the best splitter in all of Major League Baseball. And if he wasn't in the absolutely loaded Mariners pitching staff, he would probably be more recognized league-wide as an ace in MLB. He's headed to the White Sox in my redraft. The 5th overall pick in real life was with the Cincinnati Reds, and they selected Jonathan India, the second baseman. His best season was his rookie season in 2021, where he posted 21 homers with a .270 batting average and 34 doubles. The 3 seasons after were good, but not as good, putting his career numbers at 63 home runs, 101 doubles, a .253 batting average, .352 on base percentage, and a 7 wins above replacement. But he's a terrible defender, and he was just traded in the offseason, but I'll get into that later when he's selected in the top 30, because he will be. However, he's not getting picked 5th overall, and the guy who is getting picked 5th overall is Steven Kwan, who originally got drafted in the 5th round by the Guardians. The 5th round pick, slap-hitting left fielder, is getting drafted by the Reds in today's draft. And this is an awesome pick, with Kwan being a great player. Kwan has played 3 seasons in MLB and won a Gold Glove in all 3 seasons. All that's to say is he's an elite defender and might just be the best defensive outfielder in all of baseball currently. He also doesn't have a ton of speed, but he definitely steals a decent amount of bases. For the most part, Kwan mainly just hits singles, but he also takes his walks, and that makes him a pretty solid offensive player. There's not a ton to say about Steven Kwan. He's a consistently good hitter and Gold Glove winning left fielder. He's really good, and I'm picking him 5th overall. He's like a top 3 left fielder in baseball, so why wouldn't you pick him high in the draft? In real life, the 6th pick went to the New York Mets, who selected Jared Kelenic. Throughout his MLB career, he has posted a .213 batting average with 47 homers, and he was traded away before his debut for Edwin Diaz to the Seattle Mariners. He's now an Atlanta Brave. For my new pick, I'm going with Joe Ryan, who originally was selected by Tampa Bay in round 7. Tampa Bay, you are good at drafting. The second Rays starting pitcher of the draft already, and this time it's a 7th round draft pick in Joe Ryan. Ryan has some of the nastiest stuff in the league, with a fastball that doesn't overpower velocity-wise, but is almost impossible to square up. He hasn't quite put a Cy Young caliber season together for the Minnesota Twins yet, but it's coming soon, and my guess would be that that year is the 2025 season. His expected ERA was almost 3/4 of a run lower than his actual ERA, and that was because the quality of contact was so weak against him. In 2023, he was pretty bad though. He allowed 32 homers in his 29 starts and had a 4.5 ERA. But I just really believe in this guy. Also worth mentioning, Joe Ryan was the first ever failed Tampa Bay trade in MLB history. So that's something that's crazy to keep note of. They traded Joe Ryan for Nelson Cruz, who had a very poor Tampa Bay Rays career, and he really only played like 50 games there. And I would like for you guys to let me know in the comments section who deserves this spot more, Joe Ryan or the guy who I have next at number 7, because I was debating with somebody about this and I chose Joe Ryan over this next guy. Let me know what you think about this debate though. With the 7th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the San Diego Padres selected Ryan Weathers. He's had 48 career starts, some of them have come from the Marlins as well after being traded there. However, he has not posted a good ERA with a 5.08. His best season was 2024 with a 3.6 ERA, so maybe he's figuring it out. That was with Miami, but this is definitely not the 7th best player of this draft class, so we're gonna have to make a change. My new pick is Cal Raleigh. who originally went 90th overall in the 3rd round to the Seattle Mariners. Another player on the Mariners already getting drafted. Good draft for Seattle, 2 players in the top 7. Cal was a top 3 catcher in MLB in 2024. And in my opinion, the second best in all of baseball, just behind William Contreras. He's actually the most powerful catcher in Major League Baseball history to begin his career. He hit 93 homers over his first 4 seasons in MLB, which is the most for a catcher in that time period. Second was Mike Piazza, who hit 1 less home run. Cal also only hit 2 homers in his rookie season, so this difference could be much higher if he wasn't a slower starter in his career. He hit 34 homers in 2024 and 30 in 2023. With the power comes a bit of a strikeout issue as well for him, but he does take a lot of walks to make his on-base percentage respectable, and he's one of the best defensive catchers as well as the offensive production, and even won the Gold Glove in the 2024 season. Like I said, I have Joe Ryan above Cal in this redraft, but let me know if you would do the opposite. This was a super difficult pick for me. I also drafted both Joe Ryan and Cal Raleigh for my fantasy baseball team this year, so clearly I like both of them. It's kind of a coin flip for me. The 8th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft went to the Atlanta Braves, who selected Carter Stewart. I don't know who that is. Unfortunately for the Atlanta Braves, he didn't sign, so this was a poor pick. Not their fault. They don't know who's gonna sign and who's not gonna sign, but it's not what you want. For my new pick, I'm gonna go with another Rays pitcher, Drew Rasmussen, who was originally selected by the Brewers in the 6th round. But like I said, this is another Rays starting pitcher, and this time it's a guy that they traded for. This is why they never go away. They're unreal at drafting and developing. Rasmussen might be the single most underrated pitcher in the sport. I don't know what it is about this guy, but he never comes up when elite pitchers are mentioned, even though he has a career 2.95 ERA. As mainly a starting pitcher, he started as a Brewer in 2020, but struggled with a 5.01 ERA in his 2 seasons in Milwaukee. Then he got traded to the Rays, and of course, he became elite. Over the past 3 seasons, he has a combined 2.79 ERA in 42 starts. And to be fair, that is just a little more than a single season workload, but still the results are there and impossible to avoid. The underlying metrics agree that he is one of the best pitchers in the game, and there really isn't anything that he does poorly. He doesn't walk guys, he strikes out enough guys, he doesn't allow hard contact, and apart from the injuries, he has the potential to be one of the most feared Rays players if he continues to perform like he has in the past. With the 9th pick in the MLB Draft, the Oakland Athletics selected Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray throughout his career has 19,000 passing yards and 115 touchdowns to 57 interceptions thrown. Wait, those are NFL stats. And that's because Kyler Murray was drafted 9th overall by the Oakland Athletics, but he was also drafted 1st overall by the Arizona Cardinals in the 2018 NFL Draft. He chose football, so we never got to see what he could do on a baseball diamond, but he was pretty good in Oklahoma for college, so I kinda wish we get to see what Kyler looked like. Again, we can't blame the A's for selecting Kyler Murray because he was supposed to be a really good baseball player if he chose MLB, but he did end up choosing the NFL because he got a higher signing bonus. They definitely did hit on their 6th round pick in Lawrence Butler. And that's who I'm going to be drafting with my new pick. He was the 6th round, 173rd overall player. He's moving up to the 9th pick by the same team, just 6 rounds earlier in the draft. Lawrence Butler had an insane rookie season, with it progressively getting better throughout the year. In the first half, he struggled with a .211 batting average and just a .280 on base percentage with a .686 OPS. In the second half, that all changed. He slammed jammed 13 homers in just 61 games and batted .300 with an .898 OPS. He played good enough defense and added 18 stolen bases overall as well. He was also much better on the road in 2024 compared to his time playing in the Oakland Coliseum, so now since he's going to be playing in a minor league park in 2024, he might be even better. He also has some weird splits. He batted over .300 against lefties, but had way more extra base hits against righties, and against righties, he didn't have that good of a batting average. So he does some things well against both types of pitchers, which is kind of interesting. He's a very good player, and if his rookie season proved anything, he can hit. I would be more than happy to take him in the top 10 of this redraft. The 10th pick in the real MLB draft of 2018 went to the Pittsburgh Pirates, who selected Travis Swaggerty. I believe that this guy used to be an MLB The Show legend. I might be wrong, but I remember his name and I think it was from MLB The Show. However, he's not an MLB legend, as he's had just 9 at-bats and just has 1 hit in Major League Baseball, and that's a single. My new pick is Triston Casas of the Boston Red Sox, who originally went 26th overall in the first round. In the second half of 2023, Triston Casas was a top 5 hitter in all of baseball. He batted .315 with 15 homers in just 54 games. He was also 4th in MLB with a 1.034 OPS, and he was looking like a true superstar hitter. However, 2024 didn't go Casas's way, as he had a nasty rib injury that held him out of the lineup for over 100 games. Even with that, he still had an 800 OPS and hit 13 home runs. He has a great eye, but he strikes out at an alarming rate. Triston also has some of the best raw power in the league, and that is due to his very impressive bat speed. He's a fairly poor defender and basically a tree stump running the bases, but we only care about home runs with Casas for the most part, and when he hits them, they go a long way. This would also probably be the Pirates' best hitter on the entire roster. Maybe you want to make the case for Brian Reynolds, but I don't know, I think I'd rather have Casas. With the 11th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Baltimore Orioles selected Grayson Rodriguez, starting pitcher. Grayson has been a good player in MLB so far, but not great. He has a career .411 ERA with 259 strikeouts in 238 innings pitched. He was really solid in 2024 with a 3.8 ERA in 20 starts. Injury concerns are there, and he's already injured to begin 2025, so hopefully that will go away eventually. But my new pick is going to be Grayson Rodriguez. I think the Orioles made the right choice here. I'm sticking with Grayson. Grayson also had a 2.4 ERA in 77 minor league games, but I just talked about his less than stellar MLB performance to this point in his career. I'm definitely using his minor league career as part of the conversation with Grayson because he was disgusting before reaching the big leagues. His best pitch is his changeup, which is one of the best changeups in the league, while his slider gets a ton of swing and miss, even if it gets hit pretty hard when it's hung. I wonder how the wall in left field moving in will affect him and make him even worse. I hope it doesn't really affect him, but it might, because they basically put Polo Grounds center field in left field at Camden Yards in 2024, and he still didn't pitch that great, but I still have a lot of faith in Grayson Rodriguez, and I think this is a perfectly good pick for the Baltimore Orioles, and I'm going to leave it that way. I think he should stay at 11. With the 12th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Toronto Blue Jays selected Jordan Groshans, who was another MLB The Show legend. However, again, not an MLB legend in real life. He has only 65 plate appearances and batted .262 in those games. He hasn't played in MLB since 2022, and he's continued to bounce around. He's been in 4 different organizations since his MLB games in 2022, which is bad. We're going back to one that was mentioned earlier with Alec Bohm, who got selected 3rd overall by the Philadelphia Phillies. I think this is a much better spot for Bohm, and I've already given given you a rundown earlier in the video of his stats, but I'll give you a little bit of a refresher. He's had a weird career. He was the best of the top 3 picks. He had a 277 batting average, 59 home runs, 125 doubles, 105 OPS plus, very difficult postseason career, and had some personality issues on the field. Remember when Bohm made an error at third base, got booed by the fans, and then proceeded to say that he hated the entire city that he played in? That was pretty funny, but it definitely wasn't a great look for the player. Bohm has done a great job in fixing his defense, however, and actually was a well above average third baseman in 2024, which is great to see. He also limits his strikeouts as well as anyone in baseball and has a good batting average. This is still a good player, but I think he's the 12th best of the class and not the 3rd like he was originally drafted. With the 13th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Miami Marlins selected Connor Scott. I don't know who that is. He has no MLB service time and he hasn't even reached AAA. He has a 220 batting average in AA and it's not looking good for his MLB career. I don't think he's gonna make it. So to combat that, my new pick is going to be Nico Hoerner, who got selected 24th overall in the first round by the Chicago Cubs in real life. Nico Hoerner is a Miami Marlin in my made-up imaginary world. Now, I personally am not the biggest supporter of Hoerner, and I think he's a little overrated, but not bad. He's still actually a great player. If Bohm was really good at limiting swing and miss, Hoerner is significantly better. He also is one of the best defenders in baseball at second base and is pretty quick with a good batting average. In 2023, Hoerner won his first career Gold Glove with 14 outs above average. He also has stolen 74 bases over the past 2 seasons and hit 62 doubles, but only hit 16 home runs in those 300 plus games. If he had slightly more power, this player would be one of the most well-rounded in baseball, but his power does hold him back a little in the well-rounded department. This is still easily the 13th best player in my opinion, but let me know if you think he should get drafted higher in my redraft. With the 14th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Seattle Mariners selected Logan Gilbert. This is the first pick I have to change because they were already drafted earlier in the video. Great job, Seattle Mariners. You got a steal even in hindsight. That's awesome, actually. Very, very impressive. Obviously, if he was still available, I'd be picking him here, but he's not. He got selected 4th overall, so my new pick is going to be Logan O'Hoppe, who went 677th overall in the 23rd round to the Philadelphia Phillies. O'Hoppe is a great hitting catcher with a major swing and miss problem, but when he does make contact, he hits the ball very well. Offensive catchers are really hard to find, so I'm going to value him more than some of these other positions. We also have not seen his peak yet. Due to this point in his career, he has not stayed healthy for a full season. Obviously, this pick is a massive downgrade from both Logan Gilbert and Cal Raleigh, who were both drafted by the Seattle Mariners and went higher in this draft, but it's still a good pick. Logan O'Hoppe eventually ended up on the Los Angeles Angels on a 1-for-1 swap with Brandon Marsh. That's one of the more well-rounded trades we've seen in quite some time. I like that trade, it's interesting. But apart from that, I don't have too much else to say about this choice. It's just a pretty good pick. Halfway through the first round and halfway through the video, we have the 15th pick overall, and that's the Texas Rangers, who selected Cole Winn. Cole was a 2024 rookie and he threw just 17 innings to a 7.7 ERA, and he has a 5.3 ERA in the minors as well. This is not a great pick and he will not be making it in my top 30 picks of this draft class. My new pick is going to be Kyle Bradish, who was originally selected 120th overall, 4th round, by the Baltimore Orioles. Kyle Bradish is a pitcher I love. I really wanted to put him up higher on this list, but it just didn't feel right to put him above some of the guys who are above him. In 2024, he was injured consistently, but in his 8 starts, he was as gross as ever with a 2.75 ERA, and in 39 innings, he allowed just 2 homers and struck out 53 batters. years. In 2023, he came 4th in Cy Young voting, posting a 2.83 ERA in 30 starts while allowing basically no home runs. He's one of the few pitchers in baseball that can still keep the ball in the yard, and that's an important skill to have. He will be missing some time in 2025, but hopefully he can come back and perform at least at the All-Star break, because he is one of the more underrated pitchers in the league and I like watching him pitch. With the 16th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Tampa Bay Rays selected Matthew Liberatore. He has not had a bad career so far, but out of all the Rays pitchers that we've talked about, he's been the worst of them. He has a 4.4 career ERA in 24 starts and lots of relief outings. He has performed significantly better throughout his career as a reliever, and he has a strikeout issue which has limited his ceiling throughout his career. I can definitely make a better pick in this redraft. And that new pick is going to be Brady Singer, who originally went 18th overall in round 1 to the Kansas City Royals, just 2 picks away from where I'm picking him here. Brady Singer is as inconsistent as inconsistent can be. He has had 2 great seasons and 2 very bad seasons in his 5-year career. I will say one good thing about Brady Singer for sure. He has had by far the most starts out of any other pitcher in MLB from anyone in this draft class, but overall he's been fairly mid with a 4.3 ERA. In 2021 he had a 4.9 ERA. In 2022 he had a 3.2. In 2023 he had a 5.5, and in 2024 he had a 3.7 ERA. He's been durable throughout his career, which is a big plus, but obviously the inconsistency is concerning. He's also been doing this as a Royal, and they pitch in a notoriously pitcher-friendly ballpark. And he did just get traded to the Cincinnati Reds this offseason, who play in one of the most hitter-friendly ballparks in all of MLB. It'll definitely be interesting to see how he performs with the home run hitter dream Great American Ballpark. Looking at the expected stats, he would have allowed 112 home runs at Great American Ballpark, compared to just 70 at Kauffman, where Kansas City play. So this really is not a great situation for him, but because of the pitching volume alone, he has to go no lower than this pick in my opinion, and since he's going to the Rays in this draft, he's probably gonna have a sub 3 ERA just because he's a Tampa Bay Ray. With the 17th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim select Jordan Adams. He's had a bad start to his career so far in just 74 at-bats. He has a .255 batting average in his minor league career. This is a poor pick. You will not hear his name again in this video. My new pick is going to be a different middle infielder, and this one's going to be Jeremy Pena, who originally went 122nd overall in the 3rd round to the Houston Astros. Pena won World Series MVP in his rookie season and is one of the fastest players in the league. He's about as league average of a hitter as you can get, but his defense and speed make him a good Major League Baseball player regardless. I think he's very similar to Nico Hoerner with more upside but slightly less regular season success in his career. Pena is a very clutch hitter, however, and he didn't just win World Series MVP in his rookie season, but also ALCS MVP. And again, I just want to reiterate, he did this as a rookie. He has some power, but not much, but he does double often. This is a good player, and it would be interesting to see what the battle would look like between him and Zach Neto if they were really both on the Angels together. They're kind of similar players, but also pretty different because Neto has a lot more power, but it would be interesting to see which one of these players played second, which one of these players played short, or maybe which one of these players got traded away before they even made the Angels roster. Would have been an interesting storyline in my opinion. With the 18th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Kansas City Royals selected Brady Singer, and I already went over him, so I'm not going to do that again. We're just going to leave it there. Since he's already been drafted, let's pick the guy that he was traded for, Jonathan India, who originally went round 1, pick 4 to the Cincinnati Reds. Like I said with India, his best season was his rookie season in 2021 where he posted 21 homers with a .270 batting average and 34 doubles. His seasons after that were good but not great, and his career numbers are 63 home runs with 101 doubles, a .253 batting average, 352 on base, and a 7 WAR with terrible defense. Ironically, he's drafted to the team that just traded for him, swapping him out for the player he just got traded for. Really weird turn of events. I swear I didn't even plan that. It's literally just I think Jonathan India is the 18th best player in this class, and the Royals had the 18th pick. It's just how it works. This is another situation similar to Brady Singer as well, which the similarities are just going insane between Brady Singer and Jonathan India, but he's gonna get hurt power-wise badly moving to Kansas City. He'd have 84 home runs at Great American Ballpark and just 42 at Kauffman Field, so exactly half. However, he's still going to get on base with the Royals as he has an elite walk rate and doesn't chase pitches out of the strike zone. The defense will still be a problem, but the Royals are already great defensively, so they will probably be able to mask that more than the Cincinnati Reds might have been able to. With the 19th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the St. Louis Cardinals selected Nolan Gorman. He has 60 career homers, but has desperately lacked an on-base ability. He will get a real chance in 2025 with St. Louis though. It's not a bad pick, but a Cardinal they drafted in the 8th round is definitely a better player. And that pick is going to be the new player drafted 19th overall, Lars Nootbaar, who originally got drafted 8th round, pick 243, again, by the St. Louis Cardinals, who are selecting him here as well. Nootbaar has been solid throughout his MLB career, but not spectacular. Like India, Nootbaar never chases, and he has one of the best walk rates in the entire MLB. He also is a good defender, and he hits the ball hard when he does make contact. I should reiterate, very hard he hits the ball, not just hard. He crushes the ball when he makes contact. He significantly underperformed all of his SABR metrics in 2024, so I expect that in 2025 he's going to break out significantly more and have his first great MLB season. He's been consistently good each of the past 3 years, but now that the Cardinals have lost most of their firepower and nobody's really expecting them to do much, Nootbaar can really step up and take one of these spotlight roles on this Cardinals team. I'm pretty excited to watch that because in the World Baseball Classic, he was really fun to watch, and this is kind of a steal in this draft for the Cardinals as they drafted him 8th round, and they're almost getting a steal here with him getting selected 19th overall in my redraft as well, because I think eventually he's going to be a lot better than that 19th overall player. I'm excited to see what the future has in store for Lars Nootbaar. With the 20th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Minnesota Twins selected Trevor Larnach. Larnach makes extremely hard contact, which translated nicely into home run power in 2024. He walks a decent amount and has posted a .323 career on-base percentage with his 35 home runs. I wonder if he'll stay as a first-round pick in my redraft. It's going to be close, but he's not getting selected here, because the new pick is going to be Alex Vesia, who was originally selected 507th, round 17 by the Miami Marlins. We got a reliever coming in at pick 20, and that's because Alex Vesia is probably the best left-handed reliever in the entire league. Maybe Josh Hader is better, but I don't really know at this point after the 2024 seasons that they both just had. Vesia is unhittable, especially his slider, which opponents hit just over 100 against. Insane. His fastball also had only a 150 batting average against it as well. Vesia does have a little bit of a walk issue, but it doesn't really matter because, like I said, guys don't get hits off of him anyway. Vesia was also involved in a pretty bad bad trade between the Marlins and the Dodgers. The Dodgers received Kyle Hart and Vesia, and the Marlins received Dylan Florio, who, to be fair, was actually pretty good for the Marlins. In his Dodger career, he has just a 2.5 ERA in 4 seasons, but the best part of Vesia isn't his regular season numbers, it's his postseason dominance. He has allowed just 2 runs, both solo home runs, in 15 postseason innings, and in 7 games in 2024, he allowed 0 runs, a 1.76 ERA in the 2024 regular season as well. I could talk forever on why this pitch would be worth drafting 20th overall, but I don't think I need to continue because I think I've already proven it. With the 21st pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Milwaukee Brewers selected Bryce Turang. Turang is a monster defender with incredible speed, 50 stolen bases in 2024 to go along with a Gold Glove at second base. He doesn't have much power, but the speed and defense more than makes up for that. Now, this pick is such a great fit for the Milwaukee Brewers that I'm going to keep him getting drafted 21st overall and going to the Brewers. I think he's just the perfect Brewer. It's exactly what they look for: speed, defense, and some contact. I just talked about why I'm keeping him here. He's never going to be a superstar slugger, but he is going to dominate in the field and on the base paths. He's the most Brewers player of all time, and it would feel wrong to take him away from the Brewers. With the 22nd pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Colorado Rockies selected Ryan Rollison. Bad. He hasn't made his MLB debut yet, but he has thrown a few scoreless innings in spring training so far for the Rockies, so maybe there's a chance for him to figure out his career. But I wouldn't bet on it, even if that sounds a little mean, because he has a 6 ERA in 3 seasons at AAA. My new pick is going to be David Fry, who was originally drafted 215th overall in the 7th round by the Milwaukee Brewers. This is back-to-back Brewer picks in real life here, with David Fry coming up next. Fry was traded from the Brewers to the Guardians for pitcher J.C. Mejia, who got popped for the entire 2023 season because of steroid usage. He got suspended for the entire year. Fry was an all-star in 2024, and although he was drafted as a catcher, he doesn't do much other than DH in current day. Even though he was an all-star designated hitter, he wasn't a particularly good hitter in 2024, which confuses me. He had a very solid 800 OPS, but he had just 14 homers and hit just 18 doubles and didn't really contribute on the base path. Still, he was an all-star, so I have to put him pretty high up on this list because of his offensive upside moving forward. With the 23rd pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the New York Yankees selected Anthony Seigler? I don't know, and I'm not looking up the pronunciation. He hasn't even reached AAA and has struggled in 200 AA games. He's not getting drafted in my redraft, so again, I don't care about how to pronounce his name. My new pick is Ryan Jeffers, who originally got selected in the 2nd round as the 59th overall draft pick to the Minnesota Twins. Ryan Jeffers was awesome offensively last year, at least from a power standpoint, hitting 20 homers in just 122 games. He's a catcher, and power production doesn't come often from the catcher position, so having a catcher that can hit you 20 home runs is valuable. In 2023, he had an 850 OPS as well, but apart from his home run production, he doesn't really contribute in many other ways. He's a poor defensive catcher and can't really get on base, but he does throw out some runners. He's kind of like a worse version of Shea Langoliers, who I think is a really solid catcher. So if he can get on base a little bit more and get a little better defensively, this will be a pretty good player. With the 24th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Chicago Cubs selected Nico Hoerner, who has already been selected, so we're gonna have to pick a worse player for the Chicago Cubs. That worst player is Reese Olson, who will be my new pick, who was originally drafted in the 13th round as the 395th pick by the Detroit Tigers. Reese Olson is another underrated pitcher from the 2018 draft class, which I've noticed has happened a lot throughout this video. though. Olson has a career 3.7 ERA, but has only thrown just over 200 innings, so it's not a huge sample size. He gets a lot of ground balls and gets a lot of chase, probably low sinkers that turn into double plays, but he does also have a phenomenal slider, which is rarely even hit, let alone squared up. I think Olson is another pitcher that hasn't even come close to reaching his ultimate peak, and I think that's an exciting realization for the 25-year-old starting pitcher, and, in this case, Cubs fans, but in real life, Detroit Tigers fans. I also said that Reese Olson was drafted by the Detroit Tigers. That's a lie, I lied to you. He got drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers and then was traded to the Detroit Tigers for Daniel Norris. Sorry for lying, I didn't mean it. Anyway, let's move to pick 25. The 25th pick of the 2018 MLB Draft was selected by the Arizona Diamondbacks, who took Matt McLain, who again didn't sign, so I can't select him here, even though he's a good MLB player and would have gone above this pick anyway in my redraft. The new pick is going to be Taj Bradley, who was originally drafted 150th in the 5th round by, who else? The Tampa Bay Rays. Taj Bradley is a fairly overrated pitcher among the underrated pitchers of this class, but this is another extremely inconsistent guy. He has the stuff of an ace, but struggles to put it together into results. In his 2023 rookie season, he had a 5.5 ERA in 121 starts, and then in 23 starts in his sophomore season, he had a 4.11 ERA. But he also did have a stretch in that second season where he was one of the best pitchers in baseball. If he can cut his ERA down again in 2025, this pick is more than worth it for the Diamondbacks. If not, this might be a bad pick even with the benefit of hindsight, so that really shows how confusing Taj Bradley really is. Taj strikes out a lot of batters, but he also allows way too many homers to be successful in the big leagues. He's an interesting project, and I wonder if he'd be the first pitcher in MLB history to need a change of scenery from Tampa Bay. With the 26th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Boston Red Sox selected Triston Casas, who has already been selected in my redraft. Along with Jarren Duran, the 2018 draft was a great year for the Red Sox. 2018 also was just a pretty good year for the Red Sox as well, if you know what I mean. My new pick, however, is going to have to be Nolan Gorman, who was originally drafted 19th overall by the St. Louis Cardinals. I've already talked about Nolan Gorman a little bit in the Cardinals segment, but he's somewhat of a decent hitter so far through his career with 60 homers, and he hits the ball extremely hard when he does make contact, but he has a big strikeout problem. His defense is also really bad, and he has just a 301 on base percentage. He really struggles to hit fastballs inside of the strike zone, which contributes to a very high whiff percentage because that means swinging and missing on pitches in the zone, and he really hasn't been able to improve on that within 3 years, so I don't know if that's going to happen throughout his career. But I still think this would be the best pick and best player remaining for the Boston Red Sox in my redraft land. However, as a Red Sox fan, I'm sad that Triston Casas and Jarren Duran have turned into Nolan Gorman, and it genuinely upset me a little bit writing that down on this script. With the 27th pick in the MLB Draft of 2018, the Washington Nationals selected Mason Denneberg. Yikes, he hasn't even reached AA. Not good. He also has a 7.5 ERA in high A, so he's gotta go. My new pick is going to be Josiah Gray, who was drafted originally by the Los Angeles Dodgers at pick 72 in the 2nd round. Josiah Gray is the first MLB player to have 0 good MLB seasons and still be an MLB All-Star. Like I said in the intro, Gray was drafted by the Dodgers and traded to the Nationals as part of the package for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner, which is not getting factored into this pick, but I think it's interesting that he was traded for 2 superstar players like those two. I also think it's interesting that he's still ending up on the Nationals regardless, in my made-up world of imagination and fun. Okay, I was exaggerating when I said that Gray has had no good seasons, but his all-star year wasn't elite or anything. He had a 3.9 ERA. He has a 4.8 ERA for his career total, and he got injured in 2024 after posting a 14 ERA in 2 starts. This is an interesting player and still has a lot of potential in my opinion, but I think all of the pitchers above him are better draft picks, and I'm pretty sure that Gray is going to be missing a lot of time in 2025 if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong though. It's too late for me to do any more research because it's 2 a.m. and I am very tired. With the 28th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Houston Astros selected Seth Beer, who in 43 games has a negative WAR in MLB with a 208 batting average and just 2 homers. However, he was traded for Zach Greinke, which was a good move for the Astros, but again, I'm not valuing that in my redraft, so he's staying off the list. My new pick is going to be Xavier Edwards, who was selected in the first round compensation category with the 38th pick in the draft by the San Diego Padres. Xavier Edwards was traded from the Padres to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Tommy Pham, and then he was traded from the Rays to the Marlins in exchange for a couple of relievers. An interesting trade path for sure, but Xavier Edwards is a good player in my opinion. I'm going to keep it very quick with Xavier Edwards' stats. He's a contact machine with very good speed and terrible defense. He stole 31 bases in just 70 games in 2024, however he hit just 1 home run. Fun fact, he also hit for the cycle in that one game that he hit a home run, and in 2024 he also had a 3 triple game, which is insane. He had a 400 on base percentage last year as well, and he did bat .330. In the minors, he also batted over .310 throughout his 4 seasons, so this isn't something that's uncommon. I don't know, Xavier Edwards is a good player in my eyes, kind of a fast version of Luis Arraez who strikes out more frequently. I think that this would be the right pick in this situation. With the 29th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Cleveland Guardians selected Bo Naylor. He's a catcher with a career .288 on base percentage and .211 batting average with just 14 homers. He has some potential still for sure as he just turned 25 years old, and that's not old at all, but he feels like the 4th or 5th best catcher in this class, so he's going to miss out on the first round, but not by a lot. My new pick is going to be Parker Meadows, who was selected in the 2nd round by the Detroit Tigers. Parker Meadows is one of the best athletes in MLB with 93 percentile speed and 92 percentile out above average defense in center field. He's also the brother of former Rays slugger Austin Meadows, which is a fun little connection. He's a very fun watch and actually is a perfect guardian because of speed and defense with a lack of power. I wasn't even thinking about that when I picked him here, but he is a good guardian. He's not a bad hitter at all himself. Actually, he has been above average in his career, but he is on this list over a few better hitters because of his tools on the base path and in the field. And finally, with the 30th pick in the 2018 MLB Draft, the Los Angeles Dodgers select JT Ginn. That's not a player that got signed, so he needs to get redrafted regardless of how good he is. My new pick is going to be Kris Bubic, who was drafted 40th overall in the 1st round of compensation. Now, I'm drafting Kris Bubic as a reliever because as a starting pitcher, Kris Bubic was horrible. But as a reliever, Kris Bubic is the baseball savant bubble dream page. Look at all that red. It's amazing. He had insane stats as a relief pitcher last year, and while he probably doesn't deserve to be on this list yet, I don't care. I would pick this player in my redraft because of his reliever potential. He had a 2.6 ERA as a reliever last year in 30 innings, and I'm not saying anything else about him because after this script and recording, I need to go to bed, and I am not saying anything else about Kris Bubic except his baseball savant page is extremely red and I think he's going to be very good. Please leave a like if you watched to this point because the video is over. The number 1 overall pick in Casey Mize did not get picked. The number 2 overall pick in Joey Bart did not get picked. Those two are both close. They didn't make the list. Let me know in the comment section what you disagree with.